these really interesting experiments looking at how the individual reacts in the social environment. So, like Dr. Daly was saying, we have a spectrum of psychology which looks at the individual, and we have sociology which looks at large institutions such as education, culture, politics, and how that affects people. Social psychology is kind of in the middle. So we're looking at the individual within the social environment and how that affects them. Particularly what I look at is stereotypes. And in this study that I am still working on with Dr. Al-Layli, we are looking at morning and night people and how their personalities differ both in stereotypes and in real differences. So let me see, how many people in here are morning people? Raise your hand. Okay, so not very many. Maybe a third. And then how many people are night people? A lot more. Okay, and then how many people don't really know? Kind of in the middle. Okay, not very many at all. What I found, and I got my research participants from you guys, Psych 100 students, and a couple other undergraduates. I found actually that most people were intermediate, is what we call it, which is neither a morning person nor a night person. I was kind of shocked by this because I myself am a night person. Maybe that's a bias I have, that more people are night people than are actually true. But, we really have perceptions about people, whether it's your race, your gender, or whether you're a morning or a night person. So, who can tell me some stereotypes that they think they have for night people? What can night people be like? Grumpy in the morning. Okay, yes, and I test what I am. What else? Night people. Well, what we found is that a lot of people think they're alcoholics. They use illegal drugs, lazy, sloppy, etc. What about morning people? What are some stereotypes for morning people? Chipper. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. What else? Hardworking. Okay, that's exactly what we found when we looked at what people thought. So let me go into this. The morning people are hard workers. That is obviously a stereotype. So stereotypes, let's talk about that. It's a belief about certain attributes of a group of people. So sometimes they're overgeneralized, inaccurate, and resistant to new information. What that means is there is some truth to stereotypes. It helps us to understand the world around us and helps make sense of things. But the problem with stereotypes is when we start to overgeneralize and say everyone is like that. All night people are lazy. All morning people are hard workers. Stereotypes help us in that they're gives you cognitive efficiency. So you're able to decide things a lot quicker, make more snap judgments. So they can be useful at times. So what I did was I looked at previous research looking at morning and night people and how they rated themselves on various personality characteristics and how a separate group of individuals rated their perceptions of morning and evening people. So what that means is one group of individuals said, oh yeah, I'm not very energetic in the morning, oh I drink a lot, I'm artistic, etc. And then a separate group of individuals rated how they perceive these morning and night people to be, their stereotypes. And so out of 91 traits that were looked at, only 8 were statistically significant, which means that when you look at P is less than 0.05, what that means is that there's only a 5% chance of error that the findings you get are going to be inaccurate. They're from chance alone. So, really what we look at in psychology is 0.01, which means that there's a 1% chance. But 0.05 is still acceptable. So in contrast, 59 out of the 91 perceived differences were found. P is less than 0.05. So in our study, we wanted to see if these stereotypes held stable over time and if there's truth behind these stereotypes found through self-report. So the difference in my study is that I looked at one group of individuals and I had them fill out this really large packet of of traits. And I had them, one section was looking at their stereotypes. I think a night person is this way, I think a morning person is this way. And then a separate part of it was, I am this way, I am that way. And how I decided whether they were a morning or a night person is called, I used a measure called a morningness eveningness questionnaire, which gives you a bunch of questions saying, if I didn't have to wake up at any certain time, when would I choose to wake up? Or if I could work out at any time of the day, when would I choose to work out? And basically, it gives us a pretty accurate estimate of whether someone is a morning or a night person. So we wanted to look at both stereotypes and real differences at the 0.01 level. So when you reduce that P level, you're basically reducing your error for chance. So I'm saying these findings that I'm getting are pretty much accurate. The chance isn't really going to affect it. There's a 1% possibility. So my hypothesis was whether an individual is a morning or an evening person will have little to no effect on personality, characteristics, traits, and behaviors. So what I thought was, it doesn't matter if you're a morning or a night person, your personality is affected by other things, not whether you wake up early or go to bed late. And another part of my hypothesis said that evening people would have more perceived negative stereotypes than morning people. And as I asked you guys, it's kind of true. People kind of generally tend to think that night people are alcoholics and partiers and all of that. So initially I took 36 participants. Over time I ended up getting 72 participants. So they filled out the MEQ questionnaire to assess whether they were a morning or evening person. I had them rate both themselves and others on an extensive list of personality, traits, and behaviors, basically already what I said. And so for the perceived differences, one would be evening people are much more likely to exhibit this straighter behavior. 7 being morning people are much more likely to exhibit a straighter behavior. So we have that Likert scale. And for real differences, we looked at 1, I'm not at all like that, 7, I'm completely like that. For our results, what we found was that participants did view evening people as possessing more negative traits than morning people. And so